Hey, what's up everybody? Rob here. Welcome back. So today's video, I want to show you kind of a glimpse into the past. So this one on the right is a 2015, and this other one is a 18, 19. I actually penciled it in 18, just wrapped up the inks in 19. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to jump into showing you how I draw Venom or how you can draw Venom. So I guess the title of this video will be how to draw Venom, but I really wanted to show you the progression real quick, and we're going to be getting into some videos where I bring out some very old artwork, and you'll probably see a lot bigger difference here. But to me, I could still feel a pretty good significant change, even from, I didn't check to see what part of 2015, but so 2015, basically depending on the time of year, 4 years away. And, I noticed a lot more control in the line work. I've got a lot of like scratchy lines here. Still drawing insanely weird hands in both of them, which is funny, but whatever. It's like just a progression. So as you learn more about drawing hands, and obviously faces don't matter on these types of characters. Maybe the, eerie smile and things like that. But it's more like background. So I feel like I've gotten a lot better at backgrounds, or relatively better at backgrounds. This background on the one on the right is just freaking childish, almost horrible. But whatever, it's just like, again, really looking at the work and seeing, okay, what could I do better? Where do I need to improve? And what improvements have I made? And so on and so forth. So I feel like the one on the left is more dynamic and stuff like that. So you can be the judge. Keep in mind the one on the left, I'm actually going to, it's already on my DeviantArt. I'll make sure there's a link in the description box below if you want to download it and color it. And, just make sure to tag me in the repost. But it'll be a high-res copy for you to mess around with. Pencil versions on there as well if you want to try to ink it, stuff like that. So all right, without further ado, let's go ahead and close these out. I just want to show you that bit of progression there and get your feedback. Let me know in the comments what you think. And let's go ahead and draw a new one. So, when drawing Venom, I think it's pretty easy to do because Venom is such a free-flowing type character. So you can do a lot to interpretation, and I'll do a bit of an angled shot, so it's not anything too boring. So I'll start with the circle, line down the middle to kind of visualize where the divide in the head is going to be. And then I'm going to draw a line down. And this would normally be a chin to the character, but since it's Venom, it's obviously going to be like a lower, the jawline is going to extend lower. So what I typically do is I start with just the shape of the top of the head. So I get this kind of round over, the slant where there would, a typical person, it'd be a brow and a cheekbone or something like that. And you can still have that. I've seen, obviously versions of Venom, I think I draw him this way, where he'll have that. So, but if you're having a tough time placing that, remember that you can use the Andrew Loomis method. Divide the sphere, bring the line over, bring this line over, that's approximately where the nose will be, and extend that down. Now, for stylized characters, I extend it down further. So I would bring this line over, kind of figure that out. And then again, for Venom, it's going to be much further. So here's about where our eyes would be. So you draw these little ovals here. And you'll see some people actually draw Venom with eyes. I'm not a big fan of that particular style, but it's still good to know where the eyes would fall. And, if there was an ear, it'd be back here. So what we're going to do is just go past all that. And this is where Venom's really fun to do, because you can really let your stylized choices guide you and just be crazy with it. So what I like to do is first kind of picture the Spidey looking eyes somewhere in there, because it started off being Spidey, right? Or the suit on Spidey. And then just draw these like jagged wild lines. So just kind of crisscrossing over back and forth, and mixing it up. Be careful not to draw a point down here. It starts to look like Spawn. Imagine that, same creator. So, just kind of make it look all wild and scribbly, and do the same thing on the other side. Doesn't need to be symmetrical, but if you want it to be, it can. I do think that this is a good opportunity right here to really round over, or show the round over of the head by the way that you curve this part. So make sure just not to draw straight across to where it meets here, or something like that. It's going to flatten out the overall feeling of the character. But if you curve it and it comes back and kind of pokes around this way, it starts to look a lot more interesting and dynamic. Let me get these eyes out of there. And then obviously with Venom, he's got this big crazy gnarly teeth and smiles. So a couple ways you can do this. I'm pretty good, without patting myself on the back too much here, I'm pretty good generally at drawing the teeth and kind of going around like this. And I don't worry about them being too awfully straight. So I stagger them and just kind of scribble them in there. If you don't feel as comfortable doing that, just start off with a mouth shape. So again, he's got kind of this shape that comes back. It kind of generally, I don't want to say always with this character because he's so wildly shifted from various versions. But we'll just say this big kind of overly accentuated smile. Go with something like that. So we can say that this kind of angles back. This way we'll start with some very overly angular effects at first, just to kind of position it, and then we'll adjust it. And the cheekbone is connected to the tooth bone. I don't know. Some put that over there somewhere. Let's bring this back. Let's get some wrinkles on the back of the neck. Let's have him have these big, just overly accentuated traps. I think he always looks cool like that. You know, his big, massive, muscular monster. Bring this over. Okay, so let's say that something like that to get started. And so a lot of this is like gum lines. So you could do this a couple ways. I usually start with a few lines going crisscross side to side and kind of bounce them up and down so that they're, you know, a little more organic and flowing. I also like to do the gums where you see like above the teeth. So like just kind of pull your upper lip back really far, like really far, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just these, you know, the area right above your teeth where it kind of still looks like the tooth, but it's the gums. And you can do lots of neat little wrinkles in there. So what I'll do is I'll draw these teeth in, and again, I try to bounce around, mix them up, you know, change the direction of them, orientation, size, everything. I just think it's a fun character to really, you know, let all the rules fall to the wayside. You know, no rules in drawing Venom, so just kind of mess around with it. Bunch of crooked teeth, he's not gonna mind. And then with the bottom teeth, I'm going to drop this down even further so you can really have fun with the jawline and the chin, the way it protrudes out. But down here, I think it looks interesting when you kind of bring these teeth out a bit more, like this. So it just looks more dangerous and kind of creepy, I guess. Then you can have some of the teeth like on the inside, some on the outside. You could get nuts here and do like a few different rows of teeth in the inside back. I know a kid like that at school and never wanted to mess with him at lunch. Never tried to take anything off his tray, I'll tell you that. Okay, so, you know, we got like these blade kind of looking things. And again, you can really get as crazy as you want with this. You can kind of crisscross them in and out, connecting to the next piece, whatever you want to do. Let imagination be your guide. So something like that. Does that look right? Oh, quit saying does that look right, since there's no right and wrong when drawing Venom. Okay, something like that. Again, these bumps, and then it always looks like the material is kind of pulled back. So it's like the suit, and then the gums, and then the teeth. And then obviously we got to have that big gnarly tongue coming out. So this one, I just kind of use this as almost like a pointer. You know, like if there's something going on in the scene, then I use the tongue to direct towards that. You know, if he's got an ice cream cone, then obviously you know where the tongue is going to go. Spidey's in the scene. You know, he's always, I don't know, I shouldn't say always there either, because now he's like a good guy, right? I don't buy into that. I think he'll eventually turn back into a bad guy. But yeah, people were saying that when I did the last illustration. Well, you got to watch out. He's more of a good guy these days. Like, man, I really need to start reading my comics. Okay, so there's the rough sketch. Actually, let's make a copy of this. I'll show you how I would refine this a bit. And I guess I could just blue line this and probably go right to ink over top, because again, it's nothing where it's like this has got to be here, that's got to be there. You could just pretty much say that it is what it is. Have fun with it. So then just get in and stylize your lines a bit more. You know, bring out some of these little wrinkles and obviously add in some big heavy line weight here and there. He's a bigger kind of muscular cat, so you look like have all these muscles kind of poking up in front of the collarbones. Like you'll notice when people get really big, it's like harder to see their collarbones. Not everybody, I guess, but some people, some superheroes. Bunch of little lines here crisscrossing for the neck. Vary up the line weight. I kind of just cheat here. It's like you probably should know where these go, but I just crisscross them so much and shade them where, how can you really tell? You can have those come up over the chest and the collarbone as well. That looks pretty neat on this character. Okay, so there's that. And let's go ahead and go around the noggin here. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate this because I can never get a nice clean shape unless I pull this way on the screen. And even still, it's a bit of a struggle. Getting a little shaky in my old age. Okay, something like that. I can use the thinner line right there just to kind of make it look a bit more depthy. I'm getting that shape I want. There we go. When in doubt, just draw it about 10 times. Okay, so now with I think the most important part, or the part I like to detail first, is the teeth. And I like to put like a heavier shadow up top. And then, you'll see, I'll kind of like try to bring out the teeth and the gums here. I'll put a rounded shape down here. Again, heavier shadow up top. So this is just the way I like to do it. There's lots of different ways to really think about this, but this is kind of the pattern that I take as I do this. So notice that I'm just, kind of flip-flopping it. There's a heavier shadow there and a heavier shadow on the bottom of the gums for the most part. And then you can vary it up lots of ways. Remember to make these teeth look pretty different. Actually, I kind of like how that one's poking out more, so I'm going to keep that. Something like that. You can have some that just aren't sharp. You're probably thinking, well, why would you do that? Venom's got all these jagged, sharp teeth. It's just by comparison. So for instance, if you do a couple that are kind of like more straight, then it makes the crooked ones look more crooked. And then if you do some that are just a couple that aren't as sharp, then it's going to make those sharp ones appear more dangerous. The power of comparative drawing. I don't know if that's even the right way to say it, but comparison, or contrast, or however you want to look at it. Contrasting elements. Okay, so there's that. I'll just kind of speed up a little bit here and throw a little flat tooth in there. Shadow here, shadow there. Then I like to put like one that's kind of off, trailing back a little bit. One or two like that. There we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on, I guess I'll do the top portion. So the lines that go back and forth, so really it's like these gum lines come up. Nope, get rid of that other line real quick. So the gum lines come up, and it's kind of like the shape you're going to see of the tooth under the gums. Kind of bounce that around. And then you can do these wrinkles that go across it and kind of through them. And you can detail these however you want. They don't have to be all that noticeable, but just something so it doesn't look so plain. And then obviously up top here, it becomes the the suit kind of pushing back, and those types of wrinkles. And you can have this nice kind of Joker smile coming up like this. See into the opening of the mouth there, that's kind of fun. And then you can put a few wrinkles back behind this as well. Okay, let's get the shape of that tongue in there. Something like this. And I'm going to try to draw that in one continuous curve, because if you stop and go, it'll really show. So you got to kind of try to pull right through there. So it's either like one continuous flow from the shoulder or a continuous flow from the elbow. So I kind of like that one. And this one's going to give me trouble. Okay, hold R and rotate this and try to get that line finished. There we go. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and get the mask, and again, I'm just going to use what's there as a little bit of a guide, but not stick too tightly to it. I just want to still have some fun with it, play around with any concepts. So I always think it looks cool when you do a couple of these like broken up shapes. Kind of vary those up. Something like that. Yeah, that's fun. I think I draw them wildly different almost every time, but oh well. And you can get in here and do lots of these, like, you know, little wrinkles and puckers in the face if you want. This, I'll say, makes a lot of sense to just kind of fill in and come back with a whiteout, or, you know, if you're digitally, then you're using a translucent version of the brush. You see, not worrying about it being identical to the other side, just mainly like the same kind of creepy shapes, but other than that, I'm not too concerned with symmetry. Probably going a little bit funky with this shape here. I need to edit that. It's starting to almost not look like Venom's mask, but oh well. Okay, there's that. Something like that. Maybe a few more little shapes coming off the back here. Grab that translucent. Yeah, so there we go. So we've got the bulk of the top portion of the mask done. And now we'll get this bottom jaw area detailed and fill it in. Alrighty, so where were we? The bottom jaw area. Forgive me, I had to go eat some pizza. It's the beauty of YouTube. You guys would have been none the wiser that I just went and shoved my face full of delicious pizza. Okay, so let's finish doing this. Hopefully it doesn't affect my drawing ability that I'm now processing 5-topping pizza. So yeah, so the same thing, get the teeth in here like so. You know, you can even do like a little raised gum there. This is pretty forgiving and free-flowing. I'm actually changing the way I do the teeth now. Forgive me. So we want the drop shadow on the bottom of the tooth, so almost like a pocket. Like he doesn't floss and he doesn't get his routine cleanings, so he's now developing pockets in his teeth, and soon bone loss. I don't think Venom worries too much about that since he can regenerate, I believe. Alright, this tooth is kind of funky, but we want these nice, big, gnarly tooth like this. Again, that drop shadow there. So on and so forth. You know, flip them around as they kind of come into the front. Something like that. So, you know, you can play around with that. You can put as many teeth as you want in there. Rows of teeth. I kind of think it looks cool to have a couple back here on the inside. So you could show like the inside of the mouth and have a few little teeth poking back here. And then some lines. Probably shade some of that back. Tongue here. This could really all be filled in. I usually do a combination, so I'll fill some of it in and then do some lines. So maybe like, nah. And just drop in some little lines back here. Which I don't know. I don't even know if that's necessary. It probably looks a touch confusing. Just fill it in. It's real easy to like want to throw in these obscure little details and then realize that it's actually making the piece harder to read, which isn't a good thing. Okay, so there's that. And what else? Let's get this lower. So this is still the gum line here, so we can do a couple little wrinkles going across. The shapes of the gums like this. And then again, kind of the suit pushing back or the bottom chin area. How would that go? Maybe something like this. Maybe kind of the shape of a chin, but not really, but kind of, but not really. Okay, so something like that. And maybe some lines under the tongue, whatever. And then obviously you can maybe show like the center of the tongue by doing something like this. And then some saliva. See, this is actually a 2-in-1 tutorial. It's not just how to draw Venom, it's how to draw Venom and saliva. So, bonus. As I fail miserably at it. So what you have to think about is the high point. So in this case, the tongue's kind of rounding over like this. So I need to make that saliva look like it kind of almost pulls up at the top and then swirls around. I don't know. It's so weird sometimes when you're just trying to get just the right shape. Let's do something simplistic for now. Something like that. And then you can have like the little teardrops of spit. Adds another dynamic. Okay, there's that. And you can also have some stringing from, you know, the top teeth to the bottom. Like he's just kind of just opened up his mouth real wide. You can do some of this with some negative line drawing or white out, something like that. Goodness, excuse me. Sorry. I probably shouldn't went and ate some food. I think it was the milk, though. I don't even think it was the pizza. I think the milk's kind of... Milk was a bad choice. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Ron Burgundy. Okay, so there's the base kind of line work. We got everything in place. And maybe some of those little veiny lines off the trapezius back here, if that makes sense. Actually, that would be his jaw, wouldn't it? What am I doing? Duh, Rob, you'd see his jawline over there. Venom has a very masculine jawline. Overly masculine, monstrous. Okay, so there's that. And so now we need to just fill in parts. So let's drop out the blue line, make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, I think that's about there. All right, let's jump this into time lapse and do the fill portion. So here I like to just fill this in with a marker, and I've got it set to blue line. It's just kind of a quick way to fill out the shapes of shadows. So for me, shadows are kind of tough, and that's just like a little bit of a process I use to aid me in that process. So yeah. Then I painstakingly fill it in because I don't like to use the quicker method of just drawing around with a selection tool. Call me crazy. But yeah, so filling this in, trying to pick out the little pools of shadows and, jumping back and forth with the translucent brush here and there just to kind of, fix any lines or whatever. So you can kind of be messy with it, I think, in a section like this or area like this because it's so easy to go back and fix it. And that's kind of the beauty of digital inking. It's just black and white. So the brush being able to flip back and forth is just so streamlined and easy to do. So you see I edit things a lot. I thicken up some line weight. But mainly I'm just getting in those thicker shapes of shadows so that I can now add some rendering over top. So yeah, here I start rendering and just adding in some thick to thin lines. And you'll see I'm going to jump in here and use some of my custom brushes as well. So I'll sometimes bounce back and forth, especially if it's a piece where I'm just trying to kind of quickly wrap it up. The custom brushes are a bit faster than me noodling around and drawing every single line. But I like to have both in there, just so you know. I don't think it ever looks right if I use just the custom brushes. It looks too repetitive. So I'll mix it up by putting in some freehand lines. Then I'll grab the other brushes if I want to, say, add a bit more texture and, save some time, basically. So yeah, so there's the bulk of it. And again, playing around with different designs on the mask and using that translucent brush to get in some of those finer details. And here's where I just start feeling like I want to add more gradation, more tonal value. And so I grab those brushes, start dinking around with the settings a little bit just to get the reaction I'm looking for. And then just kind of sculpt around the shapes of the muscles. Still wanting to pull out some of the shadows from under the jaw, side of the head, just little things like that. Notice too that I even flip that in reverse or negative. And I do some negative line drawing with the same brush. And then here I start to draw on a background and kind of overdo it. And this is funny. This is like something in my art where I always kind of know that I'm taking it too far and I'm not going to like it, but I keep going anyways. So comment below if you have that happen in your own work. I don't know what that is about our creative minds, but we feel like we just got to keep pushing. We just got to tweak it a little more, a little more. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. And we know deep down our mind, like, no, it's getting worse. I don't like it. Why am I doing this? This is a total waste of my time. I'll never get this back. But, I think that you have to anyways. It's experimentation, basically. And then sometimes you're going to find that next bit that you want to incorporate into your own style. So never really look at this like a waste of time. I'm trying to kind of be a little bit funny about it. But it does. It has that sense and that feeling of like, I just know this isn't working out. It's not looking any better. I liked it the way it was. And then you end up going back. So let me know what you think of this particular video. Sorry I had to time lapse some of it, but it was getting rather long. I appreciate the support of the channel. I'd love to know what you'd like to see next. As always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and I will talk to you soon.